Hi, so today I want to continue my teaching of some of the DBT skills, and in particular today we're going to look at one of our distress tolerance skills. So remembering these are skills that help us get through a situation without making it worse. They're not about problem solving, they're not about making the situation any better, but we want to make sure we can get through a situation when we're emotionally aroused without doing something that makes the situation worse. So the skill that we're going to look at today is half smile, and this for me is one of my favourite skills. Although it is a skill that people find really quite tricky to start off with, don't particularly like sometimes to start off with, a lot of judgments about it, but it is one that is really, really helpful, and I've had people come back to me time and time again and say actually once they've practiced it, once they've tried it, they actually have found it really, really helpful in terms of de-arousal and deregulating of their emotions when things have just built to quite an extreme level. So just thinking about when we get emotionally aroused sometimes, so whether that's anxiety or whether that's anger or sadness, what can happen to our facial expressions and the muscles in our faces, they can get quite tight. So if we think about maybe if we're angry in a situation, a lot of the time our jaw can get quite tight. We can tense our muscles, or we can grind our teeth. And so the whole time that we've got this tension going on, it sends certain signals to our brain. And that tension we can hold kind of in our forehead, so we can scale quite a lot as well. And the whole time that we're sending these signals to our brain, what we're doing is we're telling our brain that there is something that we need to be alert for, something that we need to respond to. And it's really difficult to then become calmer, to deregulate our emotions when our body is doing the opposite of what we are telling ourselves to do. So we might be telling ourselves to calm down, we might be telling ourselves to stop ruminating on something, we might be telling ourselves that everything will be okay. But the problem being is if we don't then change how our physiology is, our body is sending completely opposite signals to our brain. And so now our brain is really, really confused because it's getting one message from our thoughts and it's getting another message from our body as well. So what half smile is about, which is the one that I'm going to talk about today, is about changing those signals that we send to our brain when we're emotionally aroused. So first off, it's just noticing maybe where the tension is. And a lot of the time, as I said, it's in our jaw. And so half smile is about using different facial muscles and therefore sending a different signal to our brain. And then that will alert our brain that actually it is okay for things just to slow down and to calm down as well. Now, when I teach this to some of my patients, what they think is that by half smile, they have to walk around with a big grin on their face and kind of pretend everything's okay, everything will be fine. That is not what half smile is about. Half smile is not about masking how you're feeling. Half smile is not about pretending to others that everything is okay. The smile that we talk about with half smile is a smile just for you. It's a smile that actually, when you do it, most other people probably won't even notice as well. And it's not about providing information to the other person, it's about providing information to ourselves and our own brains about how things are. So instead of going from the big grin, as I just demonstrated for you, half smile is really focused on these edge bits of our mouth here. And when we half smile, we just want these bits here just to raise by a couple of millimeters. So it's not a big movement, but just by moving these sides, just by a couple of millimeters, it uses different facial muscles and therefore sends different signals to our brain. So if I just try and demonstrate to you, and as I said, it's really, really small, so you might not even see a difference in my facial expression. So if I just put quite a neutral face on, so you might have seen just a slight movement in the side of my mouth there. And that's all half smile is. Just use different facial muscles rather than holding on to that tension. Just by moving that tiny millimeter, it creates different signals for us. So what you can do is you can practice in a mirror. What also might be quite helpful is sometimes if you get a pen and put a pen in between your mouth and then do half smile, you can feel that tension just a bit more against the pen as well. I sometimes describe it to my patients when I'm trying to get them to practice half smile. If you imagine being out in public somewhere and you check your phone and somebody has sent you a funny message, but you don't want everybody else to notice this. And so it's that kind of really small smile that you just do to yourself that acknowledges that you've got this funny message when you don't want other people necessarily to know about it as well. Kind of one of those, just imagining that you have a smile on your face, and just that in itself just releases that tension and just gives these different signals. So go away, practice half smile, maybe doing it in front of the mirror, and just see how that feels. It's quite new for some people to do it as well, but maybe just noticing, checking in with yourself. How do I feel at the moment? How would I rate my emotions at the moment? Try half smile, give it a go, and then check in and see how you feel afterwards. There is nothing lost with practicing these skills. If you practice it and you decide you don't like it or it's not for you, then you don't need to carry on with it. But I would say go away, practice half smile, practice sending different signals to your brain, so then your brain allows your body to just calm down and know that it doesn't need to react in a situation.